Alright guys, welcome to another Mass Comments video. My name is Peter, and today we're going to go over the semifinals of the Battle Hardened that was this weekend in Philadelphia. I recorded the quarterfinals last night, and then fell asleep promptly in my chair while recording it, so recording the rest of it is in the morning. So, here we go. So we have a banger here. We got a Kano versus Dromai matchup, the classic, almost considered 90-90 matchup as well. A lot of people from the Dromai side say that this Kano matchup is pretty good. A lot of people from the Kano side say that this Dromai is pretty good. Personally, I'd rather be on the Kano side than the Dromai side in this matchup, but there's just like so many cards that are basically like, well, if they got it kind of cards, right? So that's what we're looking at today. Let's look at some of the other options that the Kano has. He's playing the Spellfire Cloak, not the Threadbare Tunic. He's playing the Spellfire Cloak. Both of them basically the same card, but the Threadbare Tunic has a little percentage better in the matchup. Being able to do it on your turn as well as your opponent's turn usually puts it over the edge for me. Another big thing in this matchup is incredibly Kano wants to go first in this matchup. Both of them want to go first exclusively, because if you go first on either side, you get to do either the Ash Generation from the Dromai side, or you get to do random amount of like 9 to 12 damage on turn 0 from the Kano side. Basically take a kind of a weak hand from the Dromai side and then do it all over again. But it looks like the Dromai is going first in here, is going to pop that gold token, pushing those 2 reds, creating the 2 Ash here as well. Brodie is the higher seed, so uniquely does go first, which is quite good. Looks like he has a couple of options here. One of them being a Themite, if I look at it correctly, but there's a Yenderai here, and a Dust Up in his hand as well. From Brodie's side, let's see what he's going to do. Okay, so plays the Yenderai. So decides not to activate the Flame Skill Furnace to play this and just play this naturally. So he does have the has the 1 card in hand. Kano's at the top, hits the Lesson Lava, really good, and then hits the Kano button again, and then finds Yellow Tome. Decides to play Yellow Tome with the other Yellow Tome in his hand. Should have 1 floating here. Pretty interesting that he didn't that he's just Kanoing without Lessening Lava. Right now, you can easily Lessen a Lava, put another Lessen Lava on top, do some other things, but decides to just do that. It looks like he's Singeing here as well. He shouldn't... Okay, if he's tracking his resource correctly, he should not have to pay for this, because he should have 1 floating after playing the Tome, then he Kanos again, still having 1 floating, and then using that 1 for the Singe. But instead, appears that extra. He should have 1 floating now, but... So Singed Brodie, bonus at 39, and then does 1 damage to the... to take the Endurance counter off, and then Lesson of Lava's here. So I'll put Gaze on top. Uniquely, if he had, should have 1 floating. Judge is looking at his deck. Probably. Judge looking at the Kano's deck. Looks like might have saw something that was a little out of hand from that side. Looking through it just a little bit, but I heard that this Joshua guy is like 15-16. If you look at a lot of the mannerisms, definitely seems decently new playing card games, or at least handling deck like things, like getting this resource thing wrong. There's a lot of controversy on Twitter after that was going around last night and this morning about it. Looks like the judge talked to him about something specifically. I mean, he's not really using resources like you should, and that's kind of like a not a good thing, because misrepresenting the board state obviously not that good, as well as like this, like the Kish of the Tome has 1 floating early, which is more hurts him than anything, but at the same time, like, you can technically pitch an extra card that you don't want in your hand, etc., right? Getting Gaze the Aegis here is actually really confusing of why you would do that as well. You would have a blue one like in your hand to be able to gaze as well, but also super interesting not to, once you hit the Lesson of Lava in the first Kano activation, to not just do multiple Lesson of Lavas into like either a Blazing or multiple Lesson of Lavas into like any 0-cost spell, right? Just looks like this line is just terrible. You're just losing. You lost so much damage doing this line instead of like the other lesson, because you could have just gone lesson into Blazing, done 12 damage to your opponent, start your opponent off at 28, and then draw up to your turn, and then keep going. But decides to do this. I mean, hits Red Tomes, which is like really good. This is probably like the best option for him. Is playing Nourishing Emptiness as well. Personally, don't play Nourishing either. Find just the Aether off the top and just going to poke in for 1 and then make a Ponder token if he hits. Brodie looks at it, kind of assessing what he's going to do here. I know Brodie looks like he's playing more of a redline version of the deck, with like how his equipment looks through it, and you know, being on a team with Mara, looks like he's probably going to play a more of a like redline version than anything else. Does just have a Nourishing in his hand. See, he swings with the dragon. Just going to take 3 here. Obviously, don't want to. You probably want to keep the Nourishing in Arsenal, and then be able to kill a Themai or something like that as well. Has a lot of cards in this pitch, but really didn't do anything. He just took like a significantly bad line, going for multiple Kanos before Lesson of Lava. Obviously the second one was really good because he hit the tome, but also just looks like his deck is upside down or something like that because he keeps doing that. I don't know. All right, Kano's on his turn. See what if he hits. E-Pot. Basically, E-Pot is just -1 damage, but it's really good to set up. Looks like he has a second E-Pot and a D-Pot in his hand with a Nourishing. So what you could do is play the, obviously you're gonna play the E-Pot here, and then you can Kano. You could either Kano 1 more time, with the D-Pot, and then if you don't hit anything, okay. So isn't a Kano with the E-Pot and hit a Sap. So plays a Sap for 1. Goes to 34, is going to play that E-Pot out here. And then let's see if he attacks with the... No, he doesn't, and then he's just in an Arsenal. Really interesting. Oh, doesn't it an Arsenal? Oh, has the Ponder. Finds Aether Wildfire, which is actually just probably the best card that he could hit in that situation. Interesting that he plays the D-Pot over the second E-Pot there. So having double E-Pot allows you just to do some like incredibly broken things on that side. D-Pot allows you to have, if you have multiple reds, to be able to pay like do some cool like tome shenanigans and other stuff. But if your line was to just Kano 1 more time and then play the other tome off your off the other pot from your hand, I would have definitely kept the second E-Pot. Played that second E-Pot there if you didn't want to play the Nourishing on that turn, especially because you have that Ponder. Pretty interesting lines here from Joshua as well. Let's see what Brodie's side here. It looks like he has a Scar for Scar, an E-Strike, a Phoenix Flame in his hand. Something like too good, and then like a Burn Them All. Doesn't look the most like impressive hand here either. It does have a like Themai in the Arsenal as well, so let's see what happens here. Brodie's such a meticulous thinker. Obviously probably one of the best players in North America. Is to go with double pitching into the semi to start his turn. Definitely really good. It looks like the Kano player has multiple blues, multiple reds in his hand, but does have the Nourishing. Ooh, decides to swing with the Themai and immediately gets popped by the Nourishing. That's actually really interesting. Usually with the Dromai, you would rather not swing with it ever. Like you lose the damage from it, but it makes it like significantly harder for there. So I'm gonna end up pitching into the flame skill and arsenaling the E-strike. Not a lot of people play nourishing into Dromai from the Kano side. Usually you play the darts and the dampens instead. If you for your hate. He's playing chains. Okay, so he's playing chains to name either Sandcover or Oasis is like most likely what he's calling here. Does have the Wildfire in his arsenal and then has the Blazing, so kind of looking. Yeah, name your card can't be played, pitched, or used to defend when there, and then on the action phase, chains there. Don't see chains that often at all. Like that is something that I just don't. You just don't see. That's super interesting. Like both of these lines, like this is just 3 lines that just aren't kind of adding up realistically, right? Like, I mean that's pretty interesting. Yeah, playing the chain, has chains in his deck. Brodie kind of ran into the Nourishing Emptiness, but I wouldn't think about the Nourishing too much going into it. So has the non-Phantasm pop. Dragon is gonna swing his in drive for 3 here. Kano just gonna take this 3. There's not a lot of pressure. You're just kind of waiting to see if your opponent does anything. Takes the 3 from the Kano side. Brodie with a decision to make here. Man, this is some interesting Kano gameplay. I won't lie. Let's swing with the Miragi here. Obviously, just gonna take the 2 here. Just you're trying to get. You can use your life total here as the Kano player to get Brodie to use more cards in his hand. Brodie kind of thinking about what he can do next. Does have the E-strike in his arsenal. Can't really tell what's in his hand from this position. Looks like he has another Flameclaw Awakening in his hand. At least that. Kano side, we do know he has the Blazing in his hand because we did see that from the hand come a couple other times, but he keeps moving in and out of the frame, so I can't really tell what's in his hand most of the time. So decides to put the E-strike from Arsenal, which is a little bit better to play. Puts that card on the bottom. See what he chooses. Just gonna be a 7 here. 1 card in hand. Okay, it looks like double blue Sonic Boom. Yeah, double blue Sonic Boom and Blazing here. So it has the deep pot here. So this is where the deep pot like actually comes really well. Coming through here. If he has double E-pot though, you could have Kano'd twice before you play. You Kano twice before you play the Wildfire, and then basically always kill at 34. Because you just have enough resources to do anything. But because there's this D-pot here, the Sonic Boom is a little bit better with the D-pot than anything. So it looks like he's going to Kano with the Sonic Boom and the Singed over pitching. And then he's going to... Has 2 floating here. He's going to Kano a 2nd time. And then he's going to D-pot. He should have 2 floating here. It's just not representing board state, but it's perfectly fine. Should have 2 Kanos here. Basically, this is make it so you can always have Sonic Boom on top here. And then you know you have a blue. So now, if you stack it correctly, you should Ragmuffin's Hat, draw the blue, put it back on top. Should let the Kano resolve. Have the Blazing. Okay, he's gonna put those down. He should have 5 resources. Oh my god. How you fucked this up so bad. This is actually just triggering playing Kano. You have 2 floating because you have you pitch the Sonic Boom. Okay, okay. This is yeah. I saw this like discourse on Twitter to where like he like fucked this up royally, but yeah, he should have 2 floating because he played the Sonic Boom, and then he pops the chess piece in the E pot, so you should have 5, and then you have 3 more from the blue Singe in your hand. So you should be able to. You should be able to like use your Storm Shatters to go to 7 resources, use Crucible to go to 6, play the Wildfire, and then have 4 in your hand. Play the pay for the Metacarpus node, so you have 3. Pay the 2 for the Sonic Boom, paying the Metacarpus node, and that's the full 8 right there, right? So Wildfire should come in for 6. Sonic Boom would come in for whatever there, plus the Metacarpus node. Blazing is the card on top. So the Kano will resolve. You have the Kano resolve before you play Sonic Boom. Do the Blazing on the top. The Sonic Boom's going to hit the other blue spell, and then there's no blue, and then come in for the Blazing as well. And then this is like giga lethal at 34 because you're it's the triple spell into Blazing. Triple spell into Blazing basically is always super good. So let's see. Oh, they're doing the math on the screen. Alright, I'm just gonna skip to wherever they resolve it because I want them to do this correctly. This is why you represent your resources. Alright. It gets to the point to where it should be correct. So Wildfire coming in for 6 here, and then is going to use 1 for that Silken Form. It's an AB, basically AB 1 hit. Take 5, go to 29. And then there's a Sonic Boom with the Metacarpus node here. Just gonna AB, again, AB1 this. He's gonna take 7, so he's gonna be at 22. Sonic Boom is going to do the Blazing. Then that last thing is gonna do this. So this should be 6 damage coming through. So you go to 16. And then you've done 6, 13, 18 plus 5, so 23. So Giga Lethal on the stack here as well. So cutting for 6. And then the lethal. Brodie, unfortunately, you're just gonna get blown up by this Kano player here in semifinals. But always happy to see Kano win. Wish it would have been a lot cleaner with like the resource generation and how he decided to do it. But we all make mistakes, so pretty understandable. I'll see you guys in the finals here. We're gonna watch Kano in the finals. Can't wait to watch that as well. See you guys in the next one.